I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Andreika Lanier, or Lanier, however the French is Lanier, and Lanier is the American way of saying it. Hi, Andreika.
Hello.
Andreika is our campaign director for Act Today for Military Families. And Andreika has a very handsome Marine husband.
Yes, she does.
Tell us a little bit about your husband, who we've had on the show, Andreika.
Well, my husband is a die-hard Marine. He joined right out of high school. Actually, we were still in high school when he signed up. He's been doing it for 16 years. He went the enlisted to officer route, and he deals with planes and bombs.
Ooh.
And I'm very proud of him.
Yeah,
Wow.
you've been together since high school?
Well, not continuously, but we are high school sweethearts. We met on the school bus.
How sweet is that?
Sweet.
Well, Andreika, you're a wonderful autism advocate, and as you said, you're a military wife, but what is your connection with autism? How did you come to this field of autism?
Well, I have both a personal and professional connection. I'm a licensed social worker. So I have been working with youths and mental health diagnoses since 2003. But my son, who will be 6 this Saturday, he was diagnosed with autism, full-blown 299.0, when he was 2 years and 9 months old. And he was on the moderate to severe end of the spectrum. And at that time, we were in Yuma, Arizona, where we had no access to services of any kind.
I can't imagine how stressful that is. And he's not your only child, correct?
No, I have 3 boys.
But he's the only one who's on the spectrum.
Yes.
So, Andreika, who better than you to tell us what some of the stressors are for a military family with a child with autism? What can you tell us that we don't know? We're dealing with autism, but not the military end. What's different for you?
The first thing is insurance coverage. Autism is not covered under regular TRICARE military insurance. And that's a big myth and misconception in society that if you're in the military, everything's paid for, everything's covered, you don't have anything to worry about. It's not true. We had to jump through a lot of hoops to get enrolled in the ECHO program. Not to mention the other external civilian agencies that we also needed to get enrolled in to be financially stable and just get him on the list for the services that were vital to support the best quality of life for him. The second is financial. There are some cutoffs and some caps that even ECHO insurance under the military does not cover. There may be some highly specialized providers that our insurance hasn't quite caught up with yet, or just limitations and restrictions on the amount and types of coverage. And for someone who has a very severe child on the spectrum, you're going to exceed the recommended guidelines by insurance, not the providers. And oftentimes families end up coming out of pocket, much to their detriment. I actually recently met a mom who said that she had to make a choice on whether to buy groceries or to make the co-payment for her son's applied behavioral analysis therapy services. And she ended up eventually having to stop his services because the family couldn't afford other types of assistance, and she had to make the tough call. So she was going a few months with getting the needs for the home, and then a few months with getting the needs for her child.
I can't even imagine when your husband is working so hard and being of such service to all of us, what it's like for you guys as a couple to realize, and for you to see these other families as well. Does it make you bitter, Andreika? You guys still very much support the military, you still support his choice, but is it not emotionally hard to think that your child doesn't have access to what he really deserves?
Oh, it's extremely hard. There's such an imbalance, and my husband's eyes were open too, because there are a lot of things that he has access to as an active duty service member that we, his dependents, did not have access to, or it cost extra for us to gain access to. It definitely leaves a bitter taste in your mouth because you support your country, you support your Marine or your sailor or your airman, whatever branch of service that you're in, you support what your loved one is doing. And then it just feels like a slap in the face when you still have to do extra paperwork and more running around and talking to different people to try to get what your family needs and definitely deserves, because your loved one is putting his or her life on the line for basic freedoms every day. And you have to work extra hard to gain what a good percentage of the population has access to.
Andreika, in addition to all of the struggle to get the treatments, what about the fact that the average military family moves every 2 years? That's, as much as our children like routine and structure, that's got to be incredibly difficult on a child with autism in the family.
Oh, absolutely. That was actually our big move from Virginia, where I was born and raised, and where Alex had a lot of both our family support systems. When we moved from there to the West Coast is when we started seeing all of the major symptoms of his autism flare up. And I'm really glad you brought that up, Nancy. In addition to just the stressors of any move, period, with a child who is on the spectrum, that support system is lost. And oftentimes there's a gap in services provided because you go to the bottom of the waiting list. When we moved from one installation to the next, even within the military structure, in the Exceptional Family Member Program, EFMP, we had to start over. I had to fill out all of the paperwork again, go through the process. There were several phone calls and emails made to different directors. So we went to the bottom of the list, not only with state regional services, but also with military services. Everything starts over when you move.
Wow.
Well, we hope that we're making people more aware. Our campaign, Act Today for Military Families, was started by Act Today specifically for the purpose of assisting military families that have children with autism, and that's the campaign for which you are the director of, Andreika. And we are hoping to not only give awareness, but to raise funds to help provide grants for military families. And I think we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we can talk about some of the families we've helped, Andreika, and we can also talk about our exciting event coming up in a week and a half. Wow.
That's right around the corner.
And I want to hear about how your son is doing now. So we'll cover all of that when we come back. Stick with us, and we'll be back with more with Andreika and her talking about her family. Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy.
Hi, it's good to be back, and we are here with Andreika Lanier. And, ooh, pretty purple dress you got on there, Andreika. I didn't see it before. And Andreika, you've got a couple of beauty titles, don't you? Beauty queen titles.
Oh, well.
I've heard through the grapevine.
Some local ones and from my younger, slimmer days.
Well, you look gorgeous.
I was going to say.
Yes. And you wear a lot of hats. You've got a lot of accomplishments. So tell us about, let's talk about a few of the families we've helped through our Act Today for Military Families campaign. Since we started it about 2 years ago, we've given out over $150,000 in grants to military families all over the country. And you have met a couple of these moms, these families, and have been in touch with them and the children. Can you tell us about a few of them that we've assisted?
One is a set, Camille and Kara. It's shucks. Sorry, let me find my words.
That's okay. That happens to us all the time.
It's an emotional topic, too.
Yeah, yeah.
This family stands out. These are two beautiful little girls. Their dad is actually in the Navy, and we provided fencing for them. And while I know that may sound like it's not a big deal, when we awarded this grant, it was right around the time that we actually lost two children on the autism spectrum had made headlines for losing their lives because they wandered off, which is a very common behavior associated with children on the autism spectrum. And Camille was the family member here that was an escape artist. She was on the moderate to severe autism spectrum, much like my son Alex's diagnosis when he first had it. And we were able to give this family some peace of mind and thankfully, you know, keeping them out of the headlines, at least for that perspective.
Yeah, that's great. And Andreika, we've talked about wandering and elopement on the show. We've covered some of those stories. And I do remember when a little girl in Virginia who was an Air Force child eloped from the family's home, and they found her, unfortunately, at the bottom of a neighbor's swimming pool. Just a tragedy in that case. And these stories happen quite often. So we're so happy that Act Today for Military Families was able to step in and help that family. What are some of the other treatments and care we've been able to give some of the military children since you've been with us?
We've given out financial aid so that children can attend special needs camps, build their social skills. One such that benefited from that was Dylan. We provided assistance for biomedical treatment and dietary supplements. Applied behavioral analysis, or ABA therapy, is a huge one with us. And I was really proud when I saw that not only do we provide $5,000 per family to cover ABA treatment for a significant amount of time, but our board also stepped up and said that if families are locally, we will partner together with some of the CARD staff and some behavior specialists in the area to provide services in the home so that we can stretch the dollars further. I was just so impressed with not only the professional power, but just the brain power and the heart power that our board has to really extend to these families and provide the services, in-home training, and that huge financial piece that is the crux of a lot of the burdens.
I think it's amazing what you ladies do and the help and the care that you're able to provide. And maybe if you guys could tell us some of the things that the rest of us can do to help you to do what you do. I know you've got an event coming up.
Yes. That's, Andreika, do you want to talk about our event on April 7th this year down in San Diego? And you want to tell everybody what we've got going on with the run and festival and all the things that are going to be happening?
Oh, yes. It is going to be a great time. It's our signature fundraiser for Act Today for Military Families. There'll be a 5K, 10K run walk, and it's also open for those who like to race in wheelchairs. There's a 1-mile fun run. There will be an egg hunt, a resource fair, and a family festival with some live entertainment. And we will also have a beer and wine garden for those who are of age, of course.
And for those who are hurting after they cross the finish line and need a quick beer or a glass of wine to ease those muscle pains. You know, Andreika, last year you were there and you were part of it, and I was there, and we've looked at some videos here on the show. I have to say, seeing some of those young Marines and naval officers and Coast Guard with their banners running as a group, seeing some of the children, the military children, military wives and husbands coming together for this cause, coming together for their own. It was such a great day for me, and it was just such a fun day. And I am so proud as the executive director of Act Today to be able to, this is the first initiative, the first campaign to specifically raise funds for military children. And Autism Speaks has now joined that cause, yes. And they are working on the legislative side. And this Saturday, in 3 days, I'm going to be on the U.S. Intrepid in New York for a special day honoring military families, and Karen Driscoll will be there speaking. And then a week later, coming back here, and all military families with children with autism are invited to this event that Autism Speaks is putting on. And Autism Speaks is one of our sponsors for our ATMF Run and Family Festival. So we're working together, and I think that, you know, people oftentimes say, why there's so many autism organizations? Well, we're proving that these autism organizations can use their power to get great things done together.
And it's great because no matter if you're close to a coast, you've got an event within 1 week. Right. You've got one in New York and one out here on the West Coast. So
and the wonderful thing about both events is that families with children with autism are encouraged to bring those children.
Yes.
And we have a lot of fun activities that day, right, Andreika, for the children with autism?
Oh, yes, we do. We've got some, there will be some fun houses there. The Easter Bunny is going to make an appearance. And we're also going to have the San Diego Padres Pod Squad and their mascot, the Friar, drop by. And I think we're going to have a few celebrity appearances as well. So it's definitely going to be a great time for the kids. And we also have a quiet zone set aside for the day because we know that our kids are going to be there who are on the autism spectrum. And although it's going to be a great time, they're going to need some space to decompress and not become overstimulated. So we provide that as well.
And we should say that both of these events are completely free as well.
Both of these, well, yeah, they're free. You have to come to it and take part of the fair and the fun. To run, there's an entry fee.
Okay.
And you can raise money through your team. It's not too late to start a team. If you're listening today and you say, I want to run, you can go to our website. You can go to act-today.org and click on the Act Today for Military Families button. You'll see a tab. It will take you to where to register. You can enter as an individual, and you can also make a donation for a team that's already registered. You know, if you want to register to help a Marine team or a Navy team or an Air Force team, we encourage. This is how we get our funds to help families like Andreika's, and like Andreika has spoken about, that are not fortunate enough to get access to treatment. And these families are keeping us safe here at home. We need to help their families. That's the least we can do for our military heroes.
And every dollar helps. You may be sitting there and thinking, you know, I've got circumstances and I don't know what to do. I've got no extra money, but a dollar can help.
A dollar helps.
And you will feel better. You will feel better. But we're almost out of time. But Andreika, I want to know, how is your son doing now?
Alex is doing great now. He was actually exited from the special education program at the school in kindergarten.
Great.
He is mainstream with his other peers, and he actually tested at a 9-year-old's level for maturity and comprehension, and he reads on a 2nd grade level. So he's doing very well. I'm extremely proud of him.
Well, your family is beautiful, and the work that you're doing is so important, and I certainly thank you for letting us all know about this important issue. We need to get help for our military families.
We do, and the White House recognizes it with joining forces, but this is a particularly tough area for our military families, and you can help, and we appreciate anything you do for us. So thank you, Andreika. I'll be talking to you soon, and I'll be seeing you a week from Saturday.
All right. Thanks, ladies, for spreading the word and having me on.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.